The next type of complex cognitive processes that you're going to learn is problem solving and creativity. I hope you enjoyed the little preview activity where I ask you to use your creativity, and I really look forward to uh, your creative drawings. And before moving on to problem solving and creativity, I will um, tell you the answer of the previous quizzes. So the answer for the word is candy. Candy. Actually, quite a few of you got this right, and I was really impressed. So C is the word alphabet that is between A and E. A is the word between Y and C. Y is at X, A, B, C. L, M, N, O, P. So N is the word, and the other words are D and Y. So the answer is candy. And I was really surprised because one of you got this question right. And according to this program, it says only the one who has over like 140, who scored over 140 can like solve this problem like in 5 minutes. Again, like intelligence quotient (IQ) measure is not an absolute value. It's not an absolute test, and it may not be accurate. But if you got this right, you should be proud of yourself, I think. And if you did not get it right, that's completely fine. It doesn't mean that you are not smart. Um, I'm going to give you a hint. So D represents the word day. Does it ring a bell? H represents the word hour. So if you want to uh, um, still try to get the answer, you can pause the video and solve the problem, but I'm just going to tell you the answer for time's sake. So the alphabet that should be in that question mark is Y. Why? Because S second, M minute, H hour, D day, W week, M month, Y year. So, I mean, again, if you got this right, pat on your back. Awesome, brilliant. So I ask you to solve two problems that the first one is where you need to use your creativity, and the other two are more closely related to problem solving skills. And in this video, you are going to learn how to define problem solving and describe how you can foster creativity in classroom. So I'll try my best to summarize the content from the uh, textbook and to explain like what problem solving, creativity, and critical thinking are in one slide. But just a disclaimer: many scholars and researchers have different definitions of problem solving, creativity, and this kind of complex cognitive processes. But this is what I kind of think that they have I try to extract the common themes of these definitions. So, why did we learn transfer first before learning complex cognitive processes? Because in order to exert this kind of complex cognitive processes, you need to know how to apply existing knowledge and skills in a new context. So problem solving can be defined as addressing an unanswered questions or troubling solution. Creativity can be defined producing work that is both original and useful to a new situation. Critical thinking, that we will be learning in another session, is closely related to evaluating the accuracy, credibility, and worth of information or lines of reasoning. So, again, problem solving, creativity, and critical thinking involve applying previously learned knowledge or skills to a new situation. So, problem solving is applying what one knows to solve unanswered questions or challenging situation. And this requires convergent thinking, which is combining the information into a single idea or product. Creativity, on the other hand, is new and original behavior that yields a product of value, so a useful product. So in order to think creatively, you need to use divergent thinking, where you need to generate many ideas and products from a single starting point. So remember the activity that you did in this session. So you can create, uh, I mean, technically, infinite number of drawings from the given figure, right? But the point was that whether you were able to draw something very unique that other people wouldn't think about. And I could make the assignment more useful for you by having you say like design certain products based on a given figure, or try to come up with some like patterns with the given figure, or some kind of schemes. But I kind of wanted to make the activity fun, so I didn't put those kind of restrictions. But creativity, again, is you are using new and original like thinking that yields a useful product. And creativity and problem solving are also related to different types of problems. So problems can be put on a spectrum. On one extreme, it can be a well-defined or straightforward problem, and the other extreme can be ill-defined or abstract problem. So well-defined problems have clearly stated goals, and all information necessary to solve the problem is present. So you remember the quizzes that you solved last week? These are the examples of well-defined problems. And typically, they only have one correct solution. The ill-defined problems, and the example can be the activity that you did, the drawing activity that you did for this week's module. The goal is not clearly stated, so you may wonder, like, why the professor asked me to draw this kind of like painting? Like maybe you did not see the point of it, and some information needed to solve the problem is missing. I just gave you the figure without like much more information. And again, there is no right or correct answer. So for instance, I came up with a bouncing ball picture. My previous students came up with a frog, dinosaur, the head of the chicken. But there is no really right or wrong answer. Which type of problem do you think is more important? Well, both are actually important. But there's a tendency that teachers use more well-defined problems in classrooms and tests, whereas in real world, there are actually more like ill-defined problems, right? Our life is not always clear cut. There are many situations where there are right or wrong answers, or there are multiple answers. So, as a classroom teacher, I kind of want to emphasize that um, since teachers tend to provide students well-defined problems, you should also think about providing them some ill-defined problems where they can exercise their creativity. But I'm not saying that this does not mean that well-defined problem is better or worse than the ill-defined problem. They are just different types of problems that tend to be related to different types of cognitive processes, which are problem solving and creativity. Then let's learn about how we can foster creativity. So as you can see, I did not emphasize the definition of problem solving or creativity in this video because they differ they are different based on their scholars, different researchers think that these are different concepts. So as educators, I think what's more important is to know how to foster creativity. Showing students that creativity is valued is one way to foster creativity. Focusing on internal rewards, like in their internal motivation, can be also a way. Of course, we can ask thought-provoking questions and teach and encourage cognitive and metacognitive strategies that support creative thinking. Like for instance, we can have students brainstorm their ideas or some kind of creative thinking strategies to help them use like more divergent thinking. We can also give students freedom and security to take risks. Again, um, there you can provide some ill-defined activities that do not necessarily have right or wrong answers, so that students can, exercise their creativity without uh, fearing of getting the answers wrong. And we should provide necessary time and resources if we want to foster creativity. Do you think these solutions, the strategies listed in this slide, are feasible in classroom? Well, it depends, but for me as a middle school student and as a subject teacher that who needed to teach English, it was kind of hard to incorporate because there are many like course content that I needed to cover, and I knew that they are going to have some standardized tests and some kind of midterms and finals. So I was actually busy covering the content for these tests. And I think the situation would not be too drastically different for American teachers. However, still, I kind of try my best to implement the components in my own lesson to to foster students' creativity. For instance, so I there was a assignment where students need to write a biography of a role model so that students will be able to write, and the goal of this activity was that students will be able to write about future career plans. I changed this. Implemented, incorporated the component of creative and divergent thinking um, by having them make a visual biography that represents their role model. So still, it achieves the same objective, which is students will be able to write about future career plans. But I added some components where students can exercise their divergent thinking and creativity. So, um, can you guess what the students want to become? Yep, the student wanted to become a doctor, and she wrote a biography of a famous Korean doctor during Joseon Dynasty about like 500 years ago, and like she not only wrote the biography well, but also tried to visualize um, her role model. And this is another student who wanted to become a teacher, and she wrote about Helen Keller. And according to her, she said she wanted to visualize it by making it as a pencil case. Do you think she did a good job? And again, this student he wrote about Edward Kwon, who is a famous chef in Korea, and I think it was kind of creative because he wrote the content in the plate, and where he can fold it, then it becomes the hat of a chef. So again, it may be easier said than done, like to create to foster creativity in classroom, especially if you are working in middle school or high school because you need to teach students subjects, and some students or parents want you to focus on teaching just academic content. However, if you can, and I really want you to try to incorporate this kind of like divergent thinking and creativity in your curriculum.